Hi guys, welcome to Braving It. With me is a fascinating human being, someone I've recently just gotten to know. And I thought, in our conversations, I thought, no man, this is the kind of conversation that needs to live beyond just him and I. So this is why I'm gifting you with him. So Tshiamo Tsogang, how are you, brother?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Kisha, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of people are afraid to step up to this platform.
Yeah.
And I do get a lot of no's along the way. So to have you say yes really is a big deal.
Thank you. Thank you for asking. And I understand why they say no. But
it's daunting.
Yeah.
But thank you anyways for coming through.
Thank you so much for gifting me.
So guys, Tshiamo is, like I said, an incredible human being who has many insights just in terms of life and the philosophy of life, views that are very different to what I've come across. And so that's why I wanted to engage him on this platform. Tshiamo, you did your BSc in Actuarial Science and Mathematics Statistics at Wits.
Yeah.
You then pursued, you pursued physics and pure mathematics as well, and also got your honors in Actuarial Science. Study much? Wow.
Look, I divided my time fairly evenly between the peers and the books.
No, listen, it's not money man. Maths was just not for everybody. But thank you so much. And today you have co-founded your own business. Is it Cairo IQ?
Yeah, Cairo
IQ, which deals in financial modeling, risk management, data science as well.
Exactly.
So very newish in entrepreneurship as well, having worked in several corporates.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So let me start here, because you said you were born and bred in Soweto.
I was.
But then you say a lot of people mistake you for a Somali or Ethiopian.
Yeah. In fact, every time there's xenophobic attacks or, I get worried because I can't just go out there because someone might just say, hey, let's get that guy.
Say something.
Yeah, but absolutely. Like in varsity, I didn't know it until I got to varsity.
Yeah.
A lot of Ethiopian people would come up to me and start speaking Amharic actually. And say, hey, and I'd be like, hey, man.
Amen.
Yeah, Akis. Where are we going? Yeah, and then you'd be like, oh, yeah.
So wait, was it more, because that's so interesting for me, was it more the black people who would ask you, hey, Mona Utwakaye, where are you from? Or is it them as well, the Somali and the Ethiopian?
Them.
Oh, it was them.
Only.
Oh my
goodness. What I noticed is that, I'd be around friends and someone would be like, hey, you look like my cousin.
Yeah.
Or I'd never get that. So I always wondered why that was, you know? Yeah, and perhaps it's because of some of my features.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. If I
yeah.
hadn't known better, if I didn't know you, I would have assumed this is the exact same. Yeah, that's interesting
it's
though.
It's a crazy thing, but it speaks to our roots as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Do your siblings look a lot like you as well?
Yeah, my sister and my brother, you know, but they look different as well. To me, my brother is a lot bigger than me.
Okay.
Physically, yeah, he's physically a dominant figure. You know? My sister, yeah, she has my structure type of thing.
Okay.
But they're both much older than me.
Much older. Yes, you did say you're Latlameki.
Yeah, I am.
Yes.
I am.
So Latlameki, raised by a single mother in the heart of Soweto, and yet you went on to do such amazing things academically. Worked in corporate, like I indicated, and have such a fascinating business today. How involved was your mother in your schooling? Because you really did well in school.
Yeah, I'll give you a story. When I was, I think, 10 years old. So my mother was a teacher, principal of a primary school. And she, I remember one day we were learning the times tables. And she drilled me on that thing the whole day. She didn't allow me to go out. It was just one day.
Hey?
Yeah, and mama, one day, now I want to go play, you know? But yeah, that was the kind of impact she had. But more than that, I think she really rooted me spiritually in knowing who I am. So as much as there was no father figure around, there were father figures.
Yeah.
But my father passed away when I was very young.
Yeah.
She played that role quite well, you know. My friends used to call her the general.
The general?
Yeah, it was interesting.
Sure.
Yeah, we had nicknames though for our parents, but they chose that one for
for your mom.
Yeah.
Obviously, because she was a principal and she had to have order and structure. Even in how she raised you. Never mind the other kids, but how she raised you.
Yeah.
So listen, actuaries make decent money. Okay, this is not a South African thing. This is a global thing. So obviously, in comparison to many other professions that are out there, they are sitting pretty, most of them.
Yeah.
Right?
No, a lot of my friends, for sure.
A lot of your friends are sitting pretty.
Yeah, for sure.
And yet, I remember last year sometime, we invited you to our home. You came to our home, and that's where I met you for the first time.
Yeah.
And
poker night.
I was hoping you wouldn't say why. But you came through, and I noticed you coming through, and I noticed your car as well. Which for me, given the highly sought after career that you have, your car was an A to B, humble. Even your dress sense was so humble, because I know a lot of people who are gifted in the financial aspect. They wear their money, they drive their money. Hey, Bona, it's out there. And yet you were so humble about how you presented yourself, not just in speech, but in your physical, Firstly, what is your relationship with money?
So I have an interesting relationship with money, I think. What I would say is that I don't believe money gives life. So that's a fundamental thing, and it's hard to grasp because money influences us in so many ways, and we see people splurging money all the time, you know, and the case with the Dubai things, of late, you know, you can see the influence of money, so it's real. But when my bank account is zero, my belief is that the life I'm living isn't sustained by money. So there are other things that sustain life, even the way I get my money. There are other things that sustain that. It's the ecology of people that surround me, So I take care of that. It's the way I eat. It's the way I think, I try to look at how my mind is working, the thoughts that dominate my mind.
So the thoughts are not how else can I generate money?
Yeah.
What more can I make?
Yeah.
The thoughts are around, am I thinking in a healthy fashion?
Yeah.
You know, am I moving in the right spaces?
For sure.
Am I occupying space when I'm there?
Exactly.
What comes out of my mouth?
Yeah.
And the consequence of that then yields money.
Exactly. You know, there's a saying, you know, from the East that says, nature doesn't hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Meaning that if you follow the path of least resistance, you know, if you follow the natural path, things will unfold naturally. You don't really have to struggle and fight, and, you know, and just flow with it. And
allow it to perhaps come to you as a result of all that you give out into the world.
Yeah, there's a spirit of life. I understand that to some people, money is a god. And what I mean by that, a god is how I define it, or how I was taught, is that a god is anything that has dominion over your life, your daily activities, your, you know. So like you were saying, like for me, it's not, money isn't the first thing in my mind, you know. I'm practical. Yes. I have a family.
Yes.
You know, and I have to dress, you know. I have to walk around, I have to eat, I have to, so you need resources for that. But those resources aren't the voice guiding my life.
You know, you spoke about Dubai earlier on.
Yeah.
And we all definitely, most of us know what's going on there.
Yeah.
And that is a great concern for me, being a young person myself, watching and observing other young people. And a lot of us are definitely striving for more. We are, you know, striving for what we can possibly get out of this world, out of this life. And a lot of it has to do with money. Yeah. But the extent to which people are going into is extreme. Yeah. What are we not understanding in terms of the pursuit of money? Is it similar to what you said about it being a consequence as opposed to an objective?
Yeah, I think so. And not just the consequence, but money is material. So you have to recognize that your state of consciousness or your spirit produces material. Material doesn't dominate your spirit. You see, so materialism, by definition, became when, if I'm walking, you know, and I'm walking past the Gucci store, and I hear it talking to me. I hear a voice in my head. It's talking to me. You see, now there's something material starting to dominate my spirit. Okay. You see what I'm saying? Whereas if we look at the physical world, the material world, it's all coming, at least I believe, from a spirit. So someone, if you look at a chair, it was an idea in someone's head. Yes. And then someone created it. Now, if I look at the chair and then it starts to dominate me, you see what I'm saying?
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
You see what I'm saying? Now I've lost something. Because whereas the other person created the chair, you see? Yes. Now I'm in a position when I'm being dominated by something inanimate, something that doesn't move, something that can't talk.
Whereas you should be dominated by thoughts of what you could possibly create, as opposed to occupying and dominating the chair.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, we need, you know, one of my goals this year was to get more jewelry. You know?
Jewelry?
Yeah. Okay. Because I was like, I've never worn a gold chain or anything like that.
Ever.
You know, and I was like, bruh, I need something, Yana, a few rings, something. You know? Yeah, just to project an image. So I understand the role of material. We need to understand that. That's important, how you project yourself. Yeah. But there's a difference between that and allowing it to dehumanize you or to steal.
Something
so
from
Dubai, now we see stories of people being dehumanized. Yes. You know? In other words, the people that are giving them money are so dominant over them that they take away the very foundations of what they are as people. And that's dangerous.
Tell me, with all that you have obviously accomplished, where do you spend your money?
I spend a lot of my money, I think, on family. On my family. I'm not a shopper. We're so dominated by this culture of consumerism.
Yes, consumerism.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To the extent where we don't even realize that we're losing the essence of who we are as a people. So now we have nothing to offer the world because all we do is consume. And we're so dominated by collecting things, and there's nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with it, with buying things, and but if that's all you are, then we have to question, why are you here then? Is that all to consume? Are you a virus? Are you a bacteria? Is that what you are? Is that all you are? Some form of cancer, do you add value to anything? Do you get somewhere, to some space? And instead of consuming, provide,
Sure.
So we are not, our ancestors, as Africans especially, as I can't say as Africans especially, because it seems to be something that was there the world over. We're not consumers. There was something beyond that drove the daily activity, that drove, the purpose, the harmony, And some of these things have been stolen from us, But we've forgotten, right? Now we think we're consumers. The more things I collect, the better I am, And people judge you on that. When I get to a place, a meeting, or, and people see me driving the Toyota, yes, I know I'm already judged. When I say actuarial science, I know I'm already judged as well for that. If I say, actually I studied actuarial science, blah, blah, blah. I was an investment banker, I was this, now, it's like, So,
sure.
We have to sort of come to grips with the reality we're in. And
how do we begin to shape that, Tshiamo? I'm raising 2 little girls, and this conversation is so prudent for me because I'm a mother, and I naturally want my little girls to not get caught up in the consumerism, treadmill, but to see themselves as creators, as inventors, and not want to collect, the decor, the things that will just add things into their lives. How do we start to shape and mold our thinking?
As mothers, we need to start instilling roots into the children and teaching them deliberately who they are, So that doesn't mean taking a culture from 200 years ago and keeping it as is, but elevate it. So, for instance, our people used to sacrifice for ancestors, But now, when I look at it, if I go take a goat, and a lot of people may disagree with me, but if I take a goat and I sacrifice it, in this day, when I look at the condition of our people, it has no effect. We're slaughtering 10,000 goats, 10,000 sheep, thousands, We're doing all kinds of sacrifice. So perhaps within that culture, there was a deeper idea around sacrifice.
Yes.
And the connection it made to your ancestors who could connect you to God. You know what I mean? So that needs to be reinterpreted so that it's more effective within the time we're living, to effect a change within our conditions. So the oldest sacrifices that we know about, that were written down, that we have, is from the Bible and from the Egyptians, etc. But when we look at the story of Moses, you see it clearly that that culture was filled with metaphors. The laws themselves were metaphors. And our people here, you look at Tswana culture, Pedi culture, Venda, Zulu, whatever, the cultures that we have here, you see that they are filled with metaphors. So we need to elevate them, and then we can perhaps find a rooted identity within that. Because the world is ever changing as well.
Sure, and it is.
Yeah.
It's moving.
Yeah.
And in the moving, there's a lot of identity that's getting left behind.
Yeah.
I am trying so much to be as exemplary as I possibly can. As a mom, in terms of how I show up for my children, or show up in the presence of my children and what they get to see and experience. I wanted to ask you as well, because this fascinated me. When you came to my house that day, I had prepared wings for days. I prepared sticky, marinated wings, and I had a small salad. But I thought, you guys are going to relish in the joys of nama. And when I came and I realized that there's so much of it left, I couldn't understand. And that's when I discovered that you were vegan. That day I discovered that you were vegan. And naturally was fascinated as well, meaning that no meat, no eggs, no dairy. What led you to this decision to go vegan? And that was 19 years ago.
Right.
He's been vegan for 19 years. So yours is not I'm testing it out. It's life. It's what you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was it wasn't one singular decision, right? It was the principles instilled in me at home. It started there. But to take care of yourself, those were the principles. So my mother, as much as we ate meat, and I was just telling someone that, I used to love T-bone steak, and those strips, those bacon strips,
Yes. I see them.
I used to love that, but there was something instilled to say, take care of yourself, be careful how you eat,
By mom.
She'd cook, and my friends, when they come over, they'd be like, I thought that was a steak, but it's broccoli,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But it seemed a natural progression to me. So, from one of my favorite movies, there's a line that says, the secret to survival is that you must never go to war, especially with yourself. So often we're tricked into going to war with ourselves. And we become stuck in those cycles until we see the problems as a part of our life, and sometimes even a necessary part, So whether it be health or etc. So I read the wrong books, and I became convinced that the best way for me to live was to adopt a vegetarian vegan diet, and then later I started learning about the deeper concepts of it, like the African Hebrew concepts that, for instance, Adam was taken from the soil. So, for instance, our people here, we used to call ourselves the sons of the soil, or the children of the soil, meaning we recognize that there's a synergy between us and the soil. So how does that synergy express itself? Well, there's iron in the soil.
Yes.
There's iron in me. There's gold in the soil. Guess what? There's gold in me. They're all magnesium in the soil. There's magnesium in me. And when these elements within us are missing, we become sick. We become vulnerable. So it's a synergy, it's a relationship. You see that?
I see that.
And now, God, in infinite wisdom, made plants to grow out of the soil. Now, I don't eat the plant. I eat what the plant produces. The plant is the tree, but the tree produces apples. The apples, I eat the meat of the apples. And then the seeds, I throw them away and it regenerates. So it seems like a natural cycle, you see, that now I have become a part of. And so for me, eating, as much as, I don't like eating rabbit food, it has to be tasty. In fact, it's an attribute of God to be creative, to express yourself, and once that is taken away from you in different aspects of life, you start to die. Because you can't grow.
You can't grow.
You can't evolve. You can't change. So you stay stagnant now.
How has the decision to go vegan influenced your wholeness, your well-being?
Yeah.
How has being vegan influenced you from a well-being perspective?
Yeah. Initially, I didn't notice it. In fact, initially, because I didn't know what to eat, I lost a lot of weight. I'm still a light guy, but now I can choose to gain weight whenever I want to because I understand how to eat better, how to eat nutritiously, But as I'm growing, I'm starting to see the effects of it. Okay. And I started seeing them because some of my friends, would say, hey, how do you do this? What's the recipe for this? And I'd be like, why are you interested in that? The last 20 years, No, I can I'm starting to see the benefits because especially after in your 30s, etc., your body starts to change. So all the junk that you used to put inside, it will start having more of a long-lasting effect. And now you can imagine by the time you're 60, your body starts degrading.
Do you get sick often, or do you find that this plant-based, life has really contributed to even the levels of your immune system?
In a sense, yes. I know statistically now, the chances of me getting cancer. So there's two types of sicknesses, right? There's the very serious ones, and then there's a flu here and there. So I have sinuses. When seasons change, the pollen in the air or whatever, I have sinuses, so I have to take something for that. I prefer taking something natural for that. But I still get sick in that sense. I get a cold,
Still,
But you see, the idea isn't about whether you're going to get sick or not. The idea is, can you recover? And what kind of sickness will you get? Because the body is made to self-heal, which means that it was designed to know that it will face challenges and bacteria and because of the environment. But now, have you, in the way you are living, has it hampered your ability to heal yourself? So I found that my body is able to heal itself. And so my wellness, but you can imagine after 20 years, for me, it's just life, right? But I have energy, like a 22-year-old or 20,
So your energy levels are enhanced.
I don't think I could have 16 wives like the King Soki, but everything is functional. I
like it. I like it. You killed the production team.
But I'm functional. Everything is working. My heart is working.
So, I often get worried about you guys, vegetarians, more especially vegans, I suppose.
Yeah.
When you go to functions, my husband had a small stint in this veganism, route.
Yeah.
He had a stint, quite impressive because it was for about a year or so.
Yeah.
And, everything changed. But what frustrated him was going to functions or going to, family functions, braais, etc., where naturally, he was not accommodated necessarily.
Yeah.
It wasn't, we are preparing this for Tepo and then we're preparing this for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Does that frustrate you? Because look at a classic braai environment.
Yeah.
Different types of meat.
Yeah.
What do you call coleslaw? That has mayo and all of it. Potato salad.
Everything has eggs, mayo, milk.
Listen.
Meat.
Diced in bacon.
Yeah. They zhuzh it up,
So So does that frustrate you? And perhaps maybe in the beginning, and I'm sure your body is now so used to it as well.
Yeah.
But doesn't that affect your mood when you walk into an environment where you can very clearly see that there's very little for you to eat here?
Yeah. I think it was maybe easier for me because I don't necessarily walk into an environment expecting to be accommodated. In different ways, though. I find it's a personality trait, probably, you know. But yeah, man, you get hungry, you know. You get hungry, you know, and then they give you 4 leaves and a carrot, you know, and you're like, okay, this doesn't even have salt or pepper. Guys, you know, you couldn't put some gravy in. There's no gravy. There's nothing. It's just because they don't know. They're confused as well. They're like, oh, you don't eat meat. That means you don't eat. That means you don't eat at all, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, it became a matter of trying to understand. But, you know, maybe I'm stubborn. I don't know, you know, and that's worked for me, perhaps, you know. But for me, look, once something makes sense to me, and I've interrogated it, you know, I just stand by it, and then whatever everyone else is doing doesn't make me uncomfortable.
Okay.
Because I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. You see, and it becomes simple. And no one, sometimes people ask me to explain myself. Why aren't you eating? Why aren't you know? So sometimes get langati mole, you know, and limoroho, if there's no, what's it, cream in it, you know?
Yes.
You know, if it's pure, you know, then I'll take it, you know, eat that, you know. So, or find a way, you know. So you become creative, you find a way, you know. Or just buy some chips on the way, and get there and just whip that out, you know. And then you know, if anything goes wrong, you know.
You got backup.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah.
So tell me, I know you're a spiritual being. And I actually just wanted you to expand on that a little bit because you had started to touch on it. What does spirituality look like or mean to you?
Yeah. So I find this particular topic, especially now, I think, look, there's a lot of knowledge. We've got the internet, we've got access to different things. Everyone has a phone, you know. So this particular topic has become a dominant topic within our age, you know, that and economics, money, you know. Either you're on that side or the other, you know what I mean? It seems like that 2 sides type of thing. And I think that it's an idea that has been overcomplicated in terms of spirituality, you know. Now there's African spirituality. Everyone wants their own church, you know. You know what I mean? And it has complicated the basic understanding of it, you know, which should be a natural thing. Like, it's not like a lion has to ask itself, am I a lion? I don't think an eagle has ever asked, can I catch that fish down there? It knows what it is and it does that. You know, it's a natural process. So now we have been put into a place, so to speak, or we found ourselves in a place where these words like spirituality, religion, we no longer really know what they mean, you know. So when people look at me, the way I'm dressed, I arrive in my areas, they assume either I'm deeply religious or I'm a Rasta and a hippie. So I must be between those two. So now, to sort of demystify it, I would start by saying that everyone has a spirit. So this is the word, this is the root of the word spirituality, is spirit. So everyone has a spirit, you know. So by default, you are spiritual in one way or another. You see? Now the contention became, what kind of spirit dominates you? Or what kind of spirit do you have? You've heard or you've seen those movies where someone is possessed by the devil. Well, the truth is we're all possessed. We're all possessed by one spirit or another. Now, I was taught that a spirit is something, moya. So, moya, if we say moya, it means, the word itself means wind. It also means spirit. Now, this isn't a coincidence. We think it is. And we never really give it much thought, but it's not a coincidence. So, let's think about moya as an example. The wind. The wind, you can't see it. Right? With your eyes, you can't see it. How do you know when it's there?
You feel it.
You feel it. It's something you feel. You know, it's something that you can see the effects of. So you're listening to a song, and then a feeling starts to dominate you. That's a spirit. Yeah. You understand? So now, when I'm talking about spirituality, for me, the main distinction is, are you dominated by a life-giving spirit or something that is causing you to go to war with yourself, that is causing you to poison your own food, that is making you consume content that will destroy your mind? You understand? So now that becomes the differentiator. You see, the feelings that dominate you. When someone says, I am depressed, they are dominated by certain thoughts. Thoughts are spirit. Why? Because thoughts are something. If someone speaks a certain thought into your mind, it's something you feel, but you can't see it. Like the words. You see, we're speaking words, but there's nothing physical happen. But yet, we are moving. We are, you know, and these words are making us feel good or feel bad. So if someone says that depressed, as an example, certainly there's a spirit that starts to dominate. There are thoughts that start to dominate. If someone is happy, it's a similar thing, you see. But there's an underlying spirit within that says, you know, do I want to live? Do I want to contribute positively? Or do I want to die? You know? And, you know, with all the social pressures that we're faced with today, this spirit, the spiritual question becomes something important for us to think about, you know.
You are on social media, and you've just, you know, touched on it now. And I find that people have a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
People that I've certainly encountered have a love-hate relationship with it. To an extent, people even deactivate their accounts just for peace within themselves. They don't need all this pressure. I don't need to be trying to live like anybody else. This is all too much, actually. My life is not where it needs to be. I don't need to see other people progressing. You know, so I'm just shut it down. I don't need all of this. Are you impacted by it? Does it impact you negatively at any point in time where all of this consumes you as well? People's progress, things happening, you know?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, not at all. I can say that for sure because I joined Instagram last year, February, for the first time. I was also shocked at what everyone was putting up. You know, it was sort of overwhelming.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, initially.
You know, initially. But I was on Twitter before, you know. I mean, I'm a tech savvy guy, you know, on WhatsApp, and, you know, I'm not anti-social media. But look, there's a line, and I sort of hate to quote Jay-Z, but there's a line, and perhaps I'll quote this because everyone has probably heard it. He says, I wish for you 100 years of success, but it's my time. So everyone has that time. You know what I mean? And once you start looking at it that way, you start taking things at face value. So there are two things happening there when people are looking at social media and feeling the social pressure, you know. One is that they are misinterpreting reality. So what I mean by that is that a lot of spiritual people people who are teachers of spiritual thought or schools of thought, they spend a lot of time saying what reality is and how it appears are two different things. We tend to take reality at face value. So let's say you and Seppo are arguing, and now this is happening at 7 p.m. at night after a long day. Now Seppo wasn't with you the whole day, right? And you weren't with him, but he brings, and he's just hard and what, and you guys start fighting. Now you guys are taking each other at face value.
Yes.
What's being presented.
Yes.
That's why you're fighting.
Yes.
But the reality is, how you're feeling at that moment might have nothing to do with either of you. So there's a deeper reality behind that.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying?
Correct.
So often we take things on face value, on appearance.
Yes.
But nothing exists as it appears.
So, Tshiamo, all of this that's happening on social media doesn't even affect you. Why is that?
Yeah, so with all the social pressure, and we live in a time where there's definitely social pressure because of TV and such. You see people, how they're living their lives. For me, when I'm on Instagram, the conversation in my head doesn't even start when I see someone else, living the way they're living. The pressure doesn't come from that conversation because it doesn't begin, What I see, I understand, is a surface view of something that's deeper, something that it's a projection of something that's a lot deeper, And so I'm not attached to that. And also, I know exactly why I'm on social media. But I mean, we go on social media and we see all these things, right? People are in the Seychelles, in Mauritius, traveling, doing this, that, Travel is a thing of the upper class, mobility. As a whole is a thing of the upper class because you have to pay for that. It takes energy, But yeah, it goes back to this question of money as well, and it sort of links to that. So I don't feel that pressure. Someone might say to me, for instance, you're a vegan, so isn't it expensive? I've gone to a vegan restaurant. Isn't it very expensive? A burger is $200 or whatever, I say it depends how you view it. Our ancestors were actually mostly plant-based. So if you ask, like there's a lady now from Limpopo, I think, or Northwest, who's 119 years old.
119?
Yeah, 119 years old. She's one of the oldest living human beings in the world. Yeah. She was celebrating her 119th birthday sometime, And you ask her, how did she get there? She'll say, no, I was living on vegetables, le morogo, the things from the soil, the simple things. Because life isn't supposed to be a complicated thing. Life is very simple. We complicate it with the lies we tell ourselves and the lies and the deception we believe. So now, if you start to believe that food, for instance, is a burger, whether you're vegan or not, that's going to be expensive. But when you start to change how you look at food, then you start to see, oh man, there are actually 10 different types of mirojos out there, spinaches, and, varieties. There's all kinds of herbs. There's, and I was telling someone, in fact, that because she was asking me, how do you spice your food, I was like, yeah, man, I buy chicken spice and chop pork because those are spices. I'll be there, buying
what did Robert say?
Yeah, steak and chops. So you see how we limit ourselves because of the words. My teacher, a Hebrew priest called Kohen Shaul, he told me that words are the formula for thinking. With certain words, you can formulate certain thoughts and express yourself in a certain way. But without certain words, you can't think in certain ways. You become limited. So, Batswana ne ba re, ntwa kgolo ke ya molomo. There's a word, there's a reason for that, because words are spirit. They formulate how. So when I read the steak and chops, I'm already programmed to think that's about meat. But inside are herbs. You see?
And it's on the record, it is herbs.
Herbs. And I'm not a Rasta. Or a hippie.
But I absolutely love that, Tshiamo. Just once again, your outlook as it relates to different areas of your life, for me, is what is so refreshing. And I think the reason why I was so glued to our earlier conversations is because it's not every day that you come across people who think and appreciate life the way you do. And really it brings me to this point of asking you about success. And I think in closing, what does success look like for you?
So success for me, it's simple things, I want to be functional. So I view time sort of as an illusion, What matters isn't whether I'm 55 or 70 years old, or 30 years old, or 20 years old. Those are just numbers. What matters to me is my body functioning? Is my spirit functioning? Do I want to continue to live? Do I have meaning in my life? We give meaning to things. I want to give meaning to the things in my life that can bring more joy. I would like a bigger family, Our ancestors were fortunate because they had very big families, because I believe people make life more bearable, I think it's a lonely place, this universe, it can be. And the only thing that we can go to make the suffering, the human condition, the struggles, and the joys more bearable and more meaningful and more fun is each other. So I believe in family, so I would like to have something, I love how in Mali they have traditions that have gone on for thousands of years in certain families. You look at the griots of Mali who play the kora, and they've passed down those traditions for hundreds of generations since the beginning of the Mali Empire. They built something that will last for 1,000 years. And for me, success is finding meaning there. In the short term, in terms of my businesses that I'm a part of and am building, it would be nice to get to a point where we reach cruising altitude, I think the holy grail is where, the business is producing resources, money, and all of this, without you being necessarily there. It just, clockwork, So in terms of that, that's important. I'd like to get to a place where I can have positive influence, at least on the people around me, That's success for me. Yeah, that's success for me.
I literally could listen to you the whole day. Once again, I really don't get to have these types of engagements on a regular. So I'll be calling you a lot more. That's what you have started. Because I really am enlightened by the way you think, the way you view things. And it really is absolutely refreshing. And I hope you guys have taken a lot from what he said. It really has been such an insightful conversation. And if you echo this sentiment, please comment about it. Let the conversation continue to live beyond this platform here. Thank you so much for watching Braving It. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
It's an honor.
All right.